Quos non querent temporis ipsum vulpus sit Q ducimus. Q minus. Last time we covered the main weeks of Versus Impostors version 4 release, but what about all these other funky fresh characters? Here's 10 more things about Versus Impostor version 4. Let's get into it. Our next batch of songs is a bit of a nostalgia trip for longtime fans of Versus Impostor. The two songs Alpha Mugus, the original version of Sussus Mugus, and Actin Sus from version 1 have been brought back to the mod. The two songs are the authentic version 1 experience, with not only the same music and sprites, but also the UI. The bottom left corner shows Cade Engine version 1.4.2, the engine the mod was originally made with, and the note splashes for perfect hits are no longer present, because they didn't exist at the time. While we're talking about Red Impostors, the song Top 10 was provided to the dev team by YouTuber Top 10 Awesome. Top 10 Awesome produces notoriously low effort mods and mod showcases featuring music and sprites that are a bit lacking in the quality department. What drew the devs to Top 10 Awesome is their inability to tell if it's ironic. It even stated in their V4 dev livestream that they might secretly be a genius. Top 10 also provided the sprites used during this track. The song Ow takes place during the imposter kill animation, featuring Red laying down the pain on Cyan. Bit overkill if you ask me. This song and stage are based on the mashed potato video Among Kills meme, original, who also provided the sprites. The singing animations featuring the hammer, syringe, laser, and big squeeze are all different kills featured in the video. The game over animation of Red flicking Cyan's head off is also in the video, but slightly altered to show off Cyan's single broken bone. This is a good time to mention that the anatomy of crewmates only have a single bone running through the length of their body, which can be seen when they're killed. The song Who features a conversation/argument between a blue and white crewmate over the fate of their orange companion. This song is based on the video Who Killed Noob 69 by Mashed, in which a confusing conversation takes place between two players due to what they've all named themselves. You see, Who is the name of the imposter, which makes it difficult for Blue to convey to White this information, as the statement Who Killed Noob 69 is interpreted as a question. Blue's extensive knowledge of everyone's names and White's lack of knowledge frustrates him, and he seemingly threatens Blue, telling him, "I'm gonna kill everyone starting with you." As it turns out, Blue didn't know that was his username until after he was ejected, a visual gag not present at the end of the song. Blue's name Y-Fronts is a reference to the seam on the front of underwear. A funny visual detail to notice that the characters seemingly switch between 4 and 5 fingers depending on the animation. The next song, Insane Streamer, is based on internet personality Germa985. A fan of Germa's took a screen cap of the streamer's evil alter ego and applied the FaceApp smile filter several times, distorting the original image into the creepy visage we know it for today. Another fan added the caption, "When the imposter is sus," which Germa opened on stream and left up for a full minute, pretty much opening the floodgates for this meme. It has long since left the circle of Germa's community, and people outside of it are more likely to know Germa as the sus guy. Funny enough, during the meme's peak popularity, Germa had still never played or streamed a game of Among Us, until finally playing the VR version in November of 2022. Insane Streamer is a pretty straightforward track, with the spooky looming presence of Germa facing off against Boyfriend. The background is a distorted filter of one of Germa's old streaming setups, and the vocals are lifted straight from Germa's Game Awards stream. The next two free play songs are both inspired by Undertale/Deltarune creator Toby Fox. Sussus Nuzzus is a crossover with Versus Impostor and Undertale Halloween Hack, which in and of itself is a crossover with Undertale and Toby Fox's Earthbound Halloween Hack. Both the background and the accuracy font are lifted from Earthbound, and the frontward-facing perspective of the opponent is used for the combat in both Earthbound and Undertale. Within the game files is also the Earthbound font for the score and ratings, including the smash graphic used for critical hits in Earthbound. Another cool fact is that the original composer for No More Nuzzles, Lunaxis, made Sussus Nuzzus for the mod. The second Toby Fox inspired song is IDK, a minimalist track featuring a pink-horned crewmate facing off against Boyfriend. This design is based off a segment of the Undertale/Deltarune newsletter, in which Toby depicts himself as a crewmate. The directional poses all look like something straight from Toby, especially the ripped up animation. Brown is a ghost, haunting the room where his recently killed body lies. This is presumably the same Brown from the song Reactor, as they are both wearing toilet paper as hats. The name of the song, Esculent, means ready to be eaten, a name that was simply chosen at random according to the devs. Esculent was the last song to be added to the mod, and just barely made the cut for the final release of version 4, as the sprites were finished the day the mod came out. Based on the design of the knife sticking out of their head having a black handle and partially serrated blade, Brown was either killed by black or white. The first person perspective and kind of creepy down animation are very reminiscent of Monochrome from Funkin Lullaby, as there originally was going to be a Dead Imposter cover of that song that ultimately went unused, so Esculent is the new Monochrome. I'm feeling Esculent. DrippPoster is another dripped out crewmate like Jorsaucy, only this time they have enough drip to spare with Boyfriend. DrippPoster is based on Among Us Drip, a 3D render of high quality Among Us crewmates showing off their Nike Jordans. This image is often associated with the song Among Us Drip, which the motif is frequently referenced in various songs in the mod. One of the artists credited for DrippyPop is Lil Nas X, but they weren't the only one planned. According to the version 4 dev stream, DrippyPop was originally going to credit a random well-known artist every time the track is played, so artists like Kanye and The Weeknd could have appeared as well. Shortly after the motif of AirPod Shoddy, Pico jumps down and is also dripped out, wearing the iconic North Face crossed with Supreme By Any Means Necessary jacket, the same one from Goku Drip. Pico's vocals come from the leaked Week 8 assets, featuring the two other main characters of Pico's school, Nene and Darnell. The little crewmate sitting on top of the speakers before Pico rudely kicks them off is named Mongo, likely a pet of DrippPoster. Dave is a brand spanking new character added to Versus Impostor with no outside basis. Dave is based on a dream Gonk, one of the devs, had about a new update coming to Among Us. Dave was supposedly the new character added to Among Us in addition to a new playable map, but at one point Dave suddenly jumped out of a window and was never seen again. This bizarre dream became an inside joke among the Versus Impostor developers, and they loved it so much that they added the entire dream concept into a free play song. The name Crew Aside is a reference to Dave flinging themselves out the window and probably dying. The painting in the background of two crewmates nearly touching is a reference to the creation of Adam, a famous painting by artist Michelangelo, which is pretty impressive considering he's a turtle. The devs and Impostorm face off in the song Monotone Attack. The player takes control of Claufo alongside artist Biddle3 as they face off against Fabs and Monotone Doc. Despite this being the same Monotone Doc as Identity Crisis, they aren't the same character. The stage seems to be a parody of McDonald's, as out the window we can see the famous golden arches and a number of fast food items for sale on the menu. One of these items is a crewmate-shaped chicken nugget, referencing the famous Among Us nugget that sold for nearly $100,000 on eBay. The price being $BTS refers to the fact that this famous nugget came from the McDonald's BTS meal. In the background from right to left we have Red Mungus, artists Offb and Orby, Lago, and the legend Nick T. Fabs' design during Monotone Attack is the same as their Easter egg appearance in Hotline 024 during the song Uncanny Valley, only without the gun. I don't recognize all the characters that can be briefly seen behind the counter, but I do know that this is Gustavo Fring, owner of Los Polos Hermanos in the show Breaking Bad. The final batch of free play songs also center around the devs on the mod, more specifically coder Cvol and YouTuber and Funkin Forward creator Pip. Pip's crewmate Forn can actually be seen in their channel trailer, 8 months before the release of version 4. The two songs Chip In and Chipping pit you, the player, as Pip against Cvol, and based on the fact that Pip has a mouth tells me that they're an imposter. I don't know why, but occasionally Pip will be holding a slightly modified Monty Mole from Super Mario World, which also makes an appearance in their win-lose icon. The final song of the batch, Torture, features musician Ziffy Clumper tied to a chair with massive rotating saw blades above their head and bullet holes outlining their body in the wall behind them. This song is only unlockable after every other song in the mod has been completed. The player takes control of Ziffy, begging Pip and Cvol to let them go. Partway through, musician Rosebud appears to be asking what's up, but is immediately yelled at to leave by the sussy duo. Rosebud can actually be seen earlier on in the background of Chippin' and Chipping. Torture is the only song in the mod to credit musicians multiple times throughout, highlighting who worked on what segment of the track. And that's 10 more things about Versus Impostor version 4. I hope you enjoyed. Believe it or not, we are still not done with Versus Impostor, as there's an entire video's worth of scrapped and unused content that I'd love to cover. If it's not out right now, be sure to hit that sub button to be the first to see it as it comes out. Alright, thanks for watching. Until next time.